Okay, so we're going to talk about conditional formatting again. We talked about it once with Excel, but now I'm going to show you again how to do it in Excel, and I'm also going to show you how to do it with Google Sheets. So in this case, we're working on our budget project, and one of the things that we need to do is we need to make something happen if we're spending more than we're making. So in this case, so our total expenses, I already had this set up, so I'm just going to play with this. Our total expenses right now are $4,336.66, but we're bringing in $7,800. So we're bringing in way more than we're actually spending. So we're safe. But let's say that that wasn't the case. Let's say we're spending a lot, but we're not bringing a lot in. So let's say, let me go to my jobs tab. So right now, my pretend salary, I was pretending like I was a software engineer, and I pretended that my starting salary was 125,000. But let's say that my starting salary is 50,000. Maybe I'm doing something else. So now if I put 50,000 in, still assuming 25% is coming out for taxes, Social Security, all that, then what I'm taking home is 3,100. So if I go back to my total budget, so now I'm bringing in less than I'm sending out, and that's bad, right? We can't do that. We can't keep living that way. Otherwise, people are going to be chasing us down. They're going to be taking our house, taking our car, whatever, and that's not good. So one of the things that I could do for this one is I could, instead of buying a $56,000 car, maybe I would buy like a $25,000 car. But we'll look at that in a minute. What we want to do first is so like if we're just looking at this sheet and we come in, we've got some numbers, it's like, oh, okay, we got numbers, that's good. I'd probably put a line here, I'd format all this. But I want it to stand out. Like I want to know immediately if I'm spending more than what I'm making. So I want to format that. So what I'm going to do is you can either, I would probably conditionally format the expenses because those are quicker and easier to change than the income. So like if you're spending too much, you could maybe spend a little less on entertainment, or you could buy a cheaper car, or you could maybe cut back on eating out, or whatever is bringing your expenses up. You can control that more quickly than what you're bringing in. So like, if 1 month you're $100 over what you should be, you can't just go to your boss and say, hey, I want $100. Like you can't be doing that every single month. It might work once or twice a year to get like a raise or whatever, but it's not as readily flexible as what you're spending. So I'm going to highlight that. And I want this I want to change color, and I want it to stand out immediately that I'm spending too much. So what we did before is right up here on our homepage, there's this little thing called conditional formatting. So I just click on that, I'm doing the highlight cell rule and greater than, because I want this to change colors if it's greater than my income. So I go here, greater than. It automatically highlights that number, but I don't want that number. I want it to highlight when it's greater than that. And I don't really like light red with dark red text. It's just, you can do whatever color you want, but I want something ugly and like clashing so I see it right away. So I'm going to go custom format. And then I'm going to wait. Okay. So I want my fill color to be something darker, like red, because that stands out right away. Like, hey, wait, you spent too much. And then font, I'm going to change that color. Maybe I'll do green because that is fairly clashy. So if I put OK and I click OK, notice it's immediately red. So I immediately know. You could change these colors. I'm just going to resist the urge. But anyway, so then I can go, oh, okay, wait a second, I'm spending too much. So maybe instead of a $56,000 car, maybe I buy a $24,000 car. That put my car payment down to there. So now I'm only spending 570 something. So if I go back to my total budget, okay, so that brought this to 570 something. I'm still a little bit over. So maybe for my entertainment, maybe I need to cut back on that. Maybe I don't need season tickets to Moody Gardens. And maybe I don't need to spend 500 on my vacation. Maybe I could put 200 a month on that, or 300. So that brings it down to 700. Let's see. Oh, we're so close. Let's see, we're only 500 away. So we can go through and we can wiggle this around. Maybe I'll eat out a little bit less. Maybe, my housing cost is pretty fixed, but maybe I found a cheaper apartment. Maybe I find something for 750. So now I'm really close. I'm like $100 away. But see, I can play with that. I have a little bit of wiggle room. Maybe for future, maybe I'm saving. I just put that in. Maybe I'm saving $200 a month instead of 400, and that gets me back into where it's good. See, so that's conditional formatting here. You just click on conditional formatting. Most of the stuff that you can do in Excel, you can also do in Google, at least for our purposes, because we're not doing anything like super complex. We're not doing calculus or anything like that. So for the basic things that we're doing, Google Sheets will do that too, and Apple Numbers will do it too. So what you can do is you can go to Google Sheets. So I'm in Google Sheets now, and I know that it'll conditional format. The menus up here are a little bit different. So like right here, it was right on the home page, conditional formatting. But so on Google, it's not on the home page, but I know that it'll do it. So it's just a matter of finding whatever it is that you want. So like right here, I set up the same income and expenses just to see. I want expenses to do the same thing. I want it to highlight red if it's, more than my income. So my guess is that it's probably going to be under formatting, right? Because it's conditional formatting, but you could click on all of these. But if I go to formatting, then I go down here, conditional formatting. Same thing, works slightly differently. So in this case, it wants you to apply rules. So, okay, so we're applying it to this one right here. So apply to range D7. Format cells if. So in this case, it says if it's not empty, but we don't care if it's empty or not. We want to know if it's greater than or equal to, right? We want to come down here. We want to know if this expenses, if that's greater than my income, that's what I want. So I'm going to go greater than. And then formatting style, it lets you pick the things right here. I don't want it to be green because green looks good. Like green, like go. So I'm going to highlight it red instead. And I'm going to put you can pick your font color right here. I'm going to put it with white letters just like this. So, greater than that. So if I do that, okay. In this case, I guess I'm just going to type in 5,500. I really don't like that. I want to be able to have it update automatically. So if I did that, that's fine. I would really like to refer it to a cell instead. So equals, let me try typing it in D6. Done. So now let me see if I change this. So let's say 8,000. Okay, that works. So I ended up having to type in the cell number. A little bit more work, but not really. You just have to know where the cell is. Okay. So here's another one I want to do. So like, let me put this back to here. Let's say it was 6,300. Now my expenses are higher. On this one, this is our little semester grade average. I can track my grades and make this show up if I'm failing, right? Like if it drops below a certain grade, I want to know. So like, let's say I don't want it to drop below an 80 because I want to be able to exempt my final, right? But let's say I don't want it to go below a B because I want to preserve my rank or whatever. So let me close out of that. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to conditional format. So I'm going to go again. I'm going to go format down to conditional. And in this case, so I want it to format if this drops below an 80. So if it is less than, and I want it to be less than 80. And again, I don't want green because green looks like it's probably a good thing. So I'm just going to highlight it that color. Done. So now if my first semester was a 65, my average is a 70, that's not what I want. Let's say my first 9 weeks, I got an 85. My second 9 weeks, I got a 75. So I could go through, I could have put like the formula where we calculated to see what final I needed. But in this case, I just wanted to conditionally format. So I can do that. So this dropped below an 80, it shows up red. So same thing, conditional formatting, you can do it in Excel, you can do it in Google Sheets. Apple Numbers does the same thing. So that's Google formatting. But Apple Numbers, I don't remember where all the controls are on that one, so you'd have to kind of check around. Okay. Where's my share screen? Oh, here it is. Okay. So that's it on conditional formatting.